That is right. It is the Ben and Jay show. Thank you for joining us.
I'm just kidding.
The theme song that's playing. Wait, I want to listen to this. This is good.
Yes, I love that.
We gotta let this play to the end. Too good.
Practice. You will see. You belong at Hero Elementary. We all belong at Hero Elementary.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's the Ben and Jay show.
It is the Ben and
co-host
Jay show.
Jamel Owens.
Listen, I don't know if you guys got the full capacity of that song. First off, I needed that. It was like a cup of coffee for me, so I needed to hear that song. I know you needed to hear that song. If you are in the tri-state area, you have experienced nothing but rain today. So everybody was walking zombies. Everybody everywhere in the tri-state area. But now you're not. You're here with us. We got you hyped. Ben is wearing a tie, which is simply amazing. So I didn't get the memo. So it's just crazy and pandemonium here, but it's amazing. It's the Ben and Jay show. You know that guy over there, Ben Hartraff, the man, the myth, the legend. He is right there with us with that fresh, crisp iron shirt. I have to say it again, Ben, you look amazing in a
Thanks, Jamel. I really appreciate it.
I definitely. But we just want to, get this out the way, pay these bills, as they say. This webinar is made possible by Access Services. Access Services is a nonprofit organization serving 11 counties in Eastern Pennsylvania with the mission to create better ways for those with special needs. They've been doing it for 44 years, and they are only expanding their services and actually improving their services as they've been to fit the curve of those that are in need. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Don't forget, everybody that is on for the Zoom call, you're automatically entered into a raffle. We're going to get into that at the end of the show because these two amazing women, we only have a short period of time because they're so busy. If you could actually see that, if you could peep that in the background, that's a couple of Grammys. I'll give something special to someone that can count how many Grammys that is. She might be a little modest about it. She might hide, but she moved out. Oh, look at that. Listen, Ben, real quick, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm going to be brief. So I'm Ben. I'm on the autism spectrum. I was diagnosed when I was 2. I have autism. I didn't talk until I was 3. Today I just talk, and now I advocate. I was on the Ellen show, carried the trophy for the Eagles, and I started this show because I wanted to give people hope, and I didn't want them to feel alone. So I literally called Jamel, and I said, "Yeah, let's do this show," and he goes, "Okay." So we're on like 29 shows so far, getting in strong. We have a big crowd tonight, Jamel. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers. It's all these two amazing women. We're going to get into that. This is amazing. A lot of good people on here tonight. We appreciate you guys spending it with us. Definitely. I'm sorry, Ben. I didn't want to cut off your story.
Go ahead. No, and I wanted to let you know that we are so excited that you're here because I can't wait for this interview. I've been dying for this interview. I'm so excited.
There you go. Well, guys, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Say hi. My name is Jay. It's like a meeting. Hi, Jay. And then we go into my spiel. But I am the host and creator of The Awesome Show, which is a platform for fathers to speak out about their feelings when it comes down to autism. I created the show back in 2016 using the platform and the medium of online radio. Ben and his father, Glenn, was actually my first guest on the show. And ever since then, we have grown closer, we have grown a bond, and we have stayed connected. This is true. Ben called me and said, hey, during COVID and I was furloughed, let's make a show together. And I said, I'm definitely down for it because I wanted to give back to my community as I was home, just like millions and millions of Americans and all across the world, therefore. And we've been doing this. This is about what, Ben? 28th episode?
29 shows. We had a lot of different guests on our shows.
Woo, this is crazy. Since the beginning of COVID, grassroots style campaign, no funding. We're here with access services. We just started it, and we get to add these lovely two ladies down to our list of very genuine with their time. Because once again, we just reach out to our guests. We ask them to be a part of our segments and, just open up the world to the autism community. We need that definitely. And, my son, Shane, he's in the other room. He's a 12-year-old boy. Shout out to Shane. He's definitely just sitting there and listening right now. He is the reason why I started the awesome show. But enough about me. Let's get into our guests tonight. Hero Elementary. Oh my God. I don't know if they still say that, but I'm going to say it. Oh my God. Listen, I am an ex-law enforcement officer. I'm currently a public servant. I am a volunteer firefighter here in Hatfield, Pennsylvania, where I live at. The things that the fire service has been teaching me and continuing to teach me, as well as, law enforcement, is just really bringing out your strengths, having a group of people letting their strengths come out and really emphasizing on those as a team building, careness, empathy, compassion, these things. When I sat down and I watched Hero Elementary for the first time, I was blown away because, for one, the comparison between real life and this cartoon is amazing. It was just like watching myself and my brothers and sisters at the firehouse or law enforcement prior, just really bonding. It's amazing. I'm not going to waste any more time. Just make sure after this interview, you go on to PBS, you go on YouTube, and you look up Hero Elementary and make sure you watch it. Definitely something. So this show involves core values that you can't find out here. There's a lot of garbage out here on the airwaves, but this is not one of them. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, ladies, do not beat me up if I mispronounce your last name, but we just went over it, but I'm old, so you got to deal with me. Miss Christine Ferraro, Ferraro, close, and Miss Carol-Lynn Parente.
Perfect.
You can send one. You can send one of those Grammys over for a prize for me, since I got it right. Ladies, thank you for being on the Ben and Jay Show. Once again, we do appreciate you guys only having a limited amount of time. Make it extra time for the audience to ask you questions. So we really do appreciate it. We appreciate the work and the effort that you are doing for the autism community. And just individuals like Ben and individuals like my son and parents like myself, it's very hard to find good programming out here for our kids to, watch and help build on the skills that we're trying to teach them at home. So thank you for your time. We appreciate it. It's an amazing show. It's a lot of words, but it's an amazing show. So let's get to these questions. We got a lot of good questions. So the first one I want to ask you, both, either one, or you can answer it in a group. I grew up watching PBS, so I'm in the era of Sesame Street, and they taught me so many things about differences. I remember just looking at Big Bird, and people used to say how tall he was, and we can't be friends with him. And I was like, wait, tall is in, short is not. I'm short, I'm not in. But it taught me so many things, and I was thankful that it did, and I paid attention more importantly. Shows like that made a person who was considerably disabled really not focus on their disability and really focus on what they have inside of them as far as their character and their good potentials. Could you tell us about your work on Sesame Street and how it got to you, how to get you where you are today?
Chrissy, why don't you go, since you're still working at Sesame Street.
I am still at Sesame. I've been with Sesame for a lot of years. And we are, Carol-Lynn and I are so lucky that we have had the pleasure of being involved in such an iconic show. Carol-Lynn, of course, was our executive producer and senior VP in charge of all programming worldwide for Sesame Street. So she's the real deal, man. She's the hot stuff. I've been a writer for the show for a long time as well. And so Carol-Lynn and I met on Sesame Street, of course, and worked together for many years. And together we worked on many wonderful projects together, including the Sesame Street Autism Initiative,
Wow.
which began a few years ago and featured Julia, our first
Yes.
puppet. So we were both very involved in that. And and gearing up for that initiative, we were exposed to so many experts in the field to give us advice and to look over every script and everything. So we came to Hero Elementary already with that in our system, and then Carol-Lynn, you could take it from here and tell them how it evolved into Hero Elementary.
Wow.
Yeah, so coming off of that experience, creating Julia, which was designed to address that specific autism initiative, we didn't set out actually to create another character with autism. We were charged with creating this science show that was based loosely on a book. And so we were trying to figure the science out. And we had these characters, and one of them just seemed, based on everything we had learned in creating Julia, it was after we'd created the character when we said, this character sounds like he could be on the spectrum. And from there, we just sort of it was a light bulb that said, yeah, AJ, I think he's on the spectrum. And we had this wonderful support with this new organization in Minnesota Public Television putting this show together, and PBS Kids, in taking this autism initiative now really a step further, because AJ is a main character and a superhero. So he's in every episode, and he's part of this team of superheroes. So was really able to take everything we learned at Sesame and build upon it for this.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I didn't mean to piggyback, but I wanted to say I grew up watching Sesame Street. I loved Elmo, but the most favorite character I love is Julia when you created Julia. Because one, it's going to bring kids hope someday. 3, Julia's upstairs in my room, right in my little shelf, right there. I bought her at Best Buy. Shout out to Best Buy. And it's right there, so I can always remember that she's in my heart, ready to go.
That's so sweet.
That's amazing.
Wonderful to hear that. Thank you.
And
that's what that initiative was all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Connecting to the community, and also giving, sort of breaking down that stereotype and bringing awareness to people who aren't in the autism community, so that they would have build understanding.
Definitely. And speaking once again about Julia, the fact that it is a girl, as we know, prevalence in girls are much lower than boys, even though it is there, and it's much harder to actually find. So a lot of people were shocked to actually, yet alone see a Muppet displaying being on the spectrum, and then she's a girl, so cool. Definitely a good big shout out to you guys for putting that out there, because I've had the pleasure of speaking with a lot of mothers who have these awesome children, and some of them are girls, and they're like, I really feel like I'm really, really, really alone. It's just really, really scarce that you'll find girls that are on the spectrum, but yet alone mothers who are willing to come out and open about it. So it really did help the community actually seeing that. It was a lot of connection there. Like Ben said, he can go on his level. When I first saw that, I almost crashed my car. Luckily I didn't, but it was amazing. It's steps like these that we actually need. So once again, and now AJ, I never can get enough of him, because he is the positive light in this show. Once again, you guys, you need to check out this show. I like the show. I didn't even show my son yet, but I'm going to watch this more than he is. I think so. But let me get to the next question with you guys. Normalization of those on the autism spectrum are so important. How do you normalize the characters on your cartoon? And what particular steps do you take in order to make this a priority for your viewers to recognize this?
that's kind of like built into our DNA as well, because coming off of Sesame, that was just always part of how we think and how we write and how we create programming for kids, because that just seems normal. But with it, when we created AJ, we made deliberate decisions about him, because we wanted to normalize autism, because we wanted it to be, we think it's wonderful that he's just one of the kids in the crowd, and he's not, labeled the kid with autism. He just has autism, and that's one of the many wonderful aspects about him. And he's a wonderful, vital part of the team who always has something to add, who always is valued and appreciated by his friends. And in fact, his autism traits, we don't call them out very much. They are apparent to anybody who's in the know, and anybody who might know somebody with autism. They might recognize that he flaps his hands, or he gets, he's sensitive to loud noises. He doesn't like when his clothes get wet, things like that. But other people, it might go right over their heads. And that's okay too, because that's normalizing that kind of behavior, that yes, some people act different ways, and that's totally fine. So those were the choices we made about AJ. We do have, coming up in April for Autism Awareness Month, we do have a special episode in which we do talk about autism in a more direct way, in a very positive way with AJ. But for the most part, it's not the topic of conversation, because we don't need that label. He just is who he is, and people in the know recognize that and appreciate that.
Amazing.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited.
It really was when we were getting into story for the first time, and we didn't want to shy away from the autism, but it became very clear that this is a group of friends, and this isn't what they talk about when they're amongst friends. They're learning to be superheroes, and it's about friendships that already exist. And so that normalizing, really, it started to feel awkward in the dialogue when we would try and call it out specifically. So as Christine said, there's this special episode where we find a way to talk about it more overtly, but in the normal course of things, they're just friends that are learning how to save the day.
Diversity applies to all the friends as well. They're a diverse group of friends.
Yes.
And we like to think that they represent the larger school, or even more diverse friends. And what we really like about it is, at this school, everybody's got a difference. Everybody has something that's different and special about them, because they're at a school for superheroes. Yeah. So in that title song that you heard at the top of the show, like the words in there are embedded, you belong at Hero Elementary. That's got that double meaning of everybody belongs. Everybody belongs when they're at Hero Elementary.
Wow. That's amazing. Once again, ladies, when I started watching this, just to be real and transparent with you, the first thing that I did notice was the different ethnic backgrounds of every one of the characters. And I think you guys definitely beat the curve when it comes down to, unfortunately, some events that are happening today, to really show that, it starts off at childhood, getting along, understanding people for who they are and not what their skin color is, but it needs to transfer to adulthood. So, just imagine a parent like me who may have a naive thought process about what's going on in life right now, sitting down with my son and watching this show. Your show can change people's thought patterns just by being present and being with their child and watching something that helps them understand what the world is. So it's amazing. You guys really, really did put some thought into this, and it shows in the quality and the understanding. And like I said, it's just ahead of its curve, it's ahead of this time. So, once again, kudos to you guys. I'm a big Sesame Street fan, like I said before. So, what y'all did right there, you transferred it over, just put a little curve on it, and you served it up. So
it's really Sesame Street that taught us that inclusion message, right? It's part of what we do. So not only are the characters diverse in skin color and in ethnic backgrounds, but they're also different sizes and shapes. And then those abilities. Some
Yeah.
can fly, some are really strong with super strength, some can make bubbles with their fingers.
Yep.
Really cool.
So the superpowers add to that diversity, as Christine was saying.
I have a quick story, and speaking of Sesame Street, I go to Calvary Saddleton, and there's a kid at my church. His name's Andy, and he loves Sesame Street, and he draws it out all the time, like the Sesame Street home video thing. And I'm like, how do you do that? And he's on the spectrum, and it's really cool how he does it.
Yeah.
And he like goes like the letter of the day, and he does like he memorizes the whole thing.
Definitely.
Wow.
It's wonderful to hear.
No, that is. Hey,
A
Ben,
lot
you
of
got
fans
question,
out there.
you got question number 3, buddy. I know they want to hear from you. You've been quiet a little bit, so I'll let you go.
Absolutely. No, I'm enjoying this interview. Celebrating differences and making people aware not to label anyone is important. How do your characters respond that and share that with the audience?
Well, I think respect is the key word there. You know, the kids all respect each other, AJ included, and they are supportive of each other in every way. When they fail at what they do, they're supportive of each other because they're all part of a team. There's no blame game or anything like that. It's all very positive and uplifting, and we like that message, throughout our series.
That's really cool. Wow. I think we should all respect each other no matter what. Like when I say it, man, in my show, be kind to each other. And that's what Ellen says. We all need to be kind. Yeah. And I feel like the superheroes are always kind. I was watching the one episode the other day. It was the eggs one. It was funny. The eggs one in the gym, that was funny. And then I like the one when they're climbing up the wall, and then she goes up and she couldn't come down.
Well, you know what, Ben? I think really, and I think everybody will agree here, we don't need to look far for a superhero because we're looking at one right now, and that's you. You are a superhero. People need to realize that. So, I don't think...
Jamel, if I had a mask, I would be called Super Benergy.
That's right. Listen, exactly with your energy, dude. Just give me that.
Super Benergy.
Definitely. I need that. So, Ben, definitely, man. You are a superhero in your own sense, man. I think everybody here can contest to that.
I think you hit on something there too, because that's kind of one of our messages too, is that everybody has that superhero inside of them. On our show is about science at its core, and we like to call what used to be called like the scientific method, we call it the superpowers of science, because those involve problem solving, and that's what superheroes do. They problem solve. So they problem solve through what they call the superpowers of science, which are powers anybody can have. That's the message. Yeah. It's like you have these superpowers too. You can observe and investigate and predict and compare and test all these wonderful powers that everybody has at their disposal. So it's great. It's another great message to just say, there's a superpower that everybody can share in, and we all have something that makes us all special.
I have an idea for an episode. Could you do a roller coaster one?
Oh, man.
Roller coaster. Are you into roller coasters?
I love roller coasters. I'm a big
that's
coaster
Ben's
guy.
favorite.
There's a lot of science in roller coasters.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Like we can have like AJ and his friends riding on a theme park roller coaster. That would actually be cool.
Listen, ladies, that's too much science for me. I like the science of gravity, which I stay on the ground. So that's just me personally. Just throw that out there. Ben, you got question 4. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Could you tell me how you came up with the name Hero Elementary for this show?
That's such a good question, and I don't think people would believe it if we actually shared how many different names we had before we came up with Hero Elementary. So one of the things about writing and creating in the superhero genre is that it's very crowded space, and almost anything you can think of has already been taken in some form. Wow. And so we had hundreds of names that were not clearable because either Marvel or DC Comics or someone had claim to them. And so we really went back to the basics of the storyline, which was it's a school for heroes. for young heroes. It's an elementary school for young heroes. And that's how we got to Hero Elementary. So sometimes you just can't
Love
beat
it.
simple.
There you go. If it's broke, if
Simple.
it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
That's right.
You know? Wow. Creative genius. Goes right back to the book.
Love
It takes some time, creative genius.
it.
Full circle.
It does. And just when I thought Forky was at the all-time high of creative genius, Forky, like I was just like,
Yeah, I bet. You have no idea how long it took them
exactly,
to get to
that's
that.
what I'm saying. Exactly. He was probably 3 months in the making. Like, what are we going to call this guy? Like, what is it? But wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Hey Ben, you got question 5, buddy.
I got you, Jamal. AJ, I love superheroes. Could you tell me how you came up with this character?
Sure. Yeah. So, so when we started talking about who our cast would be and what they were like, we were thinking about, these characters live in a superhero world, and to them, superheroes are real.
Yeah.
And like comic books are their history books. So it would be great to have a character who loves superheroes, who really like a superhero super fan and knew every fact about every superhero ever. And as we started talking about this, it reminded me of my brother. I had a brother on the spectrum, and he was
That's
really
so
into
cool.
science fiction and Star Wars and Star Trek and
Oh, I
stuff
love
like
Star
that.
Wars. Big
Did
Star
you
Wars.
say
Tell
Star
you
Trek? Hold up.
great
Did you say Star
detail.
Trek? we gonna talk later. That's
You gotta
that's
talk.
the thing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
but that's what it was reminding me of, and our experience. We had just come off of writing and creating Julia on Sesame Street, and it started to click into place. It was like, if he's a superhero super fan, wait a minute, it feels like he's on the spectrum, and that's where AJ came from. It came from an organic place of wanting to, have a great character. And then it expanded from there. And AJ really has proven to be a favorite among fans. It's so wonderful and amazing and gratifying. The fan response that we get about AJ from parents, from kids who are on the spectrum, who are not on the spectrum. One of my favorite ones that I can share is an email we got from a mother who said, my son is halfway through watching the first episode of Hero Elementary, and he turns to me and says, I like AJ Gadgets the best because he's like me. He has autism like me. Wow. And his mother said, oh, they said that in this show? And he said, no, I can just tell.
Wow.
And that was just like perfect. That's exactly what we were going for.
Wow.
So that was, it's that kind of wonderful, meaningful stuff. And AJ, I have to say, he's one of the funnest characters to write for.
Yes.
We created 80 11-minute episodes for season 1. Yeah, 80. And it was a lot of episodes.
Wow.
But there are so many more AJ stories to tell.
Wow.
So the writers loved writing for him.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, AJ, I fell in love with AJ just watching it for the first time, like I said, and it's amazing too. And Ben, I know you could contest to this, is that when you meet someone on the spectrum, you meet only one particular person on the spectrum.
And that's Dr. Stephen Shore's quote. If you meet one person on the autism spectrum, you meet one person with autism.
Exactly. And it's like, it's so much that you can unpack with these amazing, children and adults that it would just take a lifetime to actually do. So I could definitely relate, my son, I'm still finding out so many things about Shane and how he thinks and what motivates him and what he thinks is easy and what he thinks is hard. So it's a never ending class, and sometimes that's what parenthood is about. It's a never ending class, you're just learning every single day on how to be a good parent and, how to learn from your kids. So that's definitely good. I want to do one more question, but I want Ben to go ahead and ask you guys that question because we want to give the audience a chance to ask you guys questions.
Do you want me to do 9 or 10?
Actually, I want you to do 9, Ben.
Perfect. I'm down with that. What is next for both of you? What other incredible projects could we expect from you?
You want to take that?
Well, yeah, Christine and I we still have some work left to do on Hero because as she said, there were 80 scripts total to make 40 half hours. So some of those are still in the pipeline.
Nice.
But we just got approved to do another show this show was a Ready to Learn grant through the Department of Education. And we just won another grant for a new show idea.
Congratulations.
And so we do have to do the work to create the show just like we did for Hero Elementary. And this time the premise of the show is a virtual game environment. So
Ooh.
yeah, we don't even know what that means yet too much until we start to dig in.
Would you have somebody on the spectrum on the virtual game?
You know, we haven't decided yet because this is where the fun of development comes in. So we don't even know who our characters are or how it's going to play out. But we do know, because it's what we do, you know, that it will be a diverse cast of some kind. So what that will mean in terms of this particular genre and how we can, you know, have the most fun. And we don't know that yet, but we do know we're at the very beginnings of this. And Christine is still writing and working at Sesame.
Wow.
So there's more fun to come from her there.
That's right. Yeah, I'm very blessed to still be part of that Sesame family. And there's a special I wrote that'll be out in November, Monster at the End of This Show, based on Monster at the End of This Movie. So that'll be out. Did I say November? Yeah, November. It'll be out in November. So yeah, things are cooking all over.
I see. That's amazing. Well, Ben, you know what? Actually do number 10 because it's most important, and that's where to find all this amazing content. So you could go ahead and ask questions.
Could you tell the viewers where and when they can find Hero Elementary? Are there other projects that we don't know about that our viewers can check out?
So you can go to pbskids.org/Hero Elementary, and that will take you to all the content that Hero Elementary has on, in addition to the show content. There's also games. Yeah. And I think you said, Ben, that you played.
I played the picture one, and then I played the AJ Gadget one that has the park. I like the park one. Now, it felt like Roller Coaster Tycoon when you're building the roller coaster and making a theme park out of it.
So there are 3 different games up now. There's another one coming. Ooh. And there will be more content rolling out all the way through the beginning of 2022. Wow. And then we will cross our fingers that we get a second season and get to do more of them.
And of course, it's on PBS every day on TV, regular linear TV, PBS Kids as well. It aired twice a day here in New York. I don't know about Philadelphia, but
yeah, you know. I'm definitely gonna watch it now. I'm gonna get my mom to watch it with me. So I think it would be fun to get my dad and mom to all watch it. And I'm definitely gonna get my family to watch too, and they're gonna be like, "This is amazing."
It's on actually at 8 p.m. on the 24/7 channel.
Is it?
So yes, in the Eastern time zone.
Nice.
I'm gonna watch it tonight. I mean, it's almost 8 p.m. I'm just kidding.
There you go. Well, this is the part of time. I know, like we said, you guys have a limited amount of time, and we appreciate it. We want to respect that. So we're going to go ahead and open up the floor to some questions. We have about 6 minutes, so we'll probably get maybe 3, maybe 4 people to ask some questions. Try to see before we can actually close this out and let these ladies get back to their lives and creating more episodes, because we want to see some more. So you are able to ask these questions. Just be respectful of everyone at this time. So you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask these questions whenever you're ready.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hey. Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, I was the one that recommended Ben Hero Elementary.
Oh wow! Well, thank you. You're responsible for all of this.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Yeah. So, yeah. Forgive me, my audio cuts out. But my question is, what is your favorite episode of Hero Elementary that you've ever done?
Ooh.
Well,
Wow.
for me, it's one that has not aired yet. That's the one about AJ's autism that'll be out in April for Autism Awareness
There
Week.
you go.
I was the writer on that one, and it's a very special episode, but in a really very positive way.
Wow.
And I just I'm very proud of that one. How about you, Carol-Lynn?
You know, every time I watch a new one, that's my favorite one. So, but I hate to tease something you can't watch right now, but there's also this wonderful show coming up next year that's a bit of an origin story. It's a 2-part episode where you get to see how they met on their first day of school.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, I sort of hate to tease that when you've got a while to wait for it, but because we're still animating it.
Yeah.
But it's so heartwarming to see them meet each other on that first day of school and how they were all coming to school with different, backgrounds and meeting for the first time. So that's a real exciting one. But I do, every time I watch a new one off the production line, I that's my favorite one. So they get better and better as they come.
Wow.
Yeah, my favorite episode is like the reflection connection where everyone gets like super glued everywhere. I know
That's a good
weird.
one.
I know that's weird, but I watched that one and I'm like, you know what? I like the plot. I'm gonna watch it, and I actually really, really liked it. It's one of my favorites. I loved it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for saying.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Appreciate your question.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Appreciate you. Floor is open up for any other questions for anybody.
I hope my dad.
Hello,
Hello.
Hey, Wayne.
Hey, Wayne.
guys. So I have a question for Christine.
Yes. Hi.
So Christine, when did you first create AJ? Since the show called Sesame Street, when did you first create him? I mean.
Well,
I
we
meant
started
him.
working on this iteration of Hero Elementary about 3 years ago. It was right, AJ, that thought about AJ and the autism, that all evolved very early on. That was right at the beginning of our development of the show. So yeah, he's 3 years old. he looks older, but he's 3 years old.
That's a big boy.
Hey, I should shout out to Hadiel Downing, who plays AJ. It's his
Wow.
birthday today.
Oh.
Okay. Happy
He
birthday.
gets a lot of credit for the performance of AJ, and he's just a wonderful, like all our cast. We have great cast,
Wow.
and great talent all across the board.
I actually invited him to come on and listen in tonight. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook,
Oh, great.
and he said good luck tonight.
Oh, wonderful.
Great. Thank you for the question, Wayne. We have time for one more question. If someone wants to unmute themselves, they have a question. We have one more question. Time for one more question.
Hi, this is Sandy. Just want to thank you so much for your passion and commitment to fun education, which is always just so enjoyable for the kids. I'm just curious, from the time you finish a script, what's the time frame for finishing an episode?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a long time. And I think, we both came off of puppets work, and that's much faster from writing a script to getting a completed show. So it can take a full year.
Wow.
From when the script is done. And so you see the show in different stages. So the first thing we'll start to see is just design elements where they draw the characters that are in the show and some of the props. So you approve those props, you'll approve them in black and white, and then you'll approve them in color. And then the first thing you see is an animatic.
Okay.
So that's moving picture, but very sort of primitive with limited action in it. And you're giving notes and making changes and sometimes revising the script at every one of these sort of stages as you go. Then you see it in color, and now it should look a lot more like what the final show is going to look, but it still doesn't have music and sound effects in it. And then after the music and sound effects, there's a final mix where you mix it all together and lay the show's in a post-production process. So that can take a full year.
And it's
Wow.
really impressive, the animation process. You know, our partners in this is Portfolio Entertainment, and they're in Toronto, Canada. And, you know, they are an incredible amount of talented, wonderful people who create this show. And it is, you know, it's a giant production line of, you know, one person draws, you know, just this part of the show, and then it goes to the next person and the next person down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So the start of that production line is the scripts. And if we're late on a script, you can see the domino effect it would have. So, so the script, even, you know, you have to start backwards from there. It's like, when do we need to get this to them? Okay, when do we need to start this script? And scripts can take a while because you go through multiple iterations and drafts and figuring it out. It's not an easy show to write, but it's a pleasurable show to write because we try to infuse it with a lot of fun for not just the kids, but for adults as well. I think there's a lot of, you know, in the style that we have done with Sesame Street we always infuse a little bit of humor that maybe just the adults are going to get, you know, references to things like Jurassic Park or this or that, you know, something very obscure that kids won't get. But they're getting the rest of the humor and the messages, and that's the important thing.
I think my dad unmuted himself. I don't know if you wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, I mean, my quick question is, do you have guest superheroes on the show?
We do.
Quite a few, actually.
We do.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have some really, I mean, of course, they're all of our own making. They're not Marvel or DC, you know, superheroes. But there are some really wonderful superheroes that recur on our show that you'll see them time and again. I'm trying to remember which ones have aired already. I think one of my favorite is named Hail Caesar, and his superpower is hail. He makes hail, and he's just a really wonderful, bloviating, like full of himself kind of guy, and he's super fun to write.
And if you know history, that was Caesar.
So you could have Benergy as a superhero.
I mean, that is.
We need to get on trademarking that right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
Lynn
they're going to snatch up those names. Somebody over at Marvel is like, oh, Benergy.
There we go. Ben's going to get a contract somewhere. We're going to make him a superhero either way. But Glenn, I see you. We were both thinking the same thing. See, that's that father intuition right there. No offense, Sandy. We know you were on it too, but me and Glenn was right here with it. That's what I'm talking about. Ben, you're definitely a good superhero. I love to see you on the show. Love to see you. Well, ladies, we don't want to take up too much of your time. I know we're a little bit over, so thank you once again for being on the show. We just do a couple things. We have a raffle, which we're going to pick through an email and actually send that raffle item out. So just stay tuned for that. Congratulations to the winners that we actually picked. And if you would like to donate to what we do here at the Ben and Jay Show, just please log on to www.accesservices.org/donate. You can look up the Ben and Jay Show, and we'll pop on up these beautiful faces right here. We'll pop on up. Ben's the handsome one. I'm just here. And just want to say the opinions expressed on the Ben and Jay Show pertain to the individual perspectives and do not necessarily represent the stance of Access Services and its affiliates. So at this time, ladies, what we normally do is we like to send the world away with some words of encouragement. If you could just
kind to each other this week, guys.
Ben,
having autism is not a bad thing. Doesn't characterize who we are. Everyone is unique and special, just like a rainbow. I'd like to thank Hero Elementary. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. And I would like to thank our guests. I had a wonderful time. And let's stay connected. You're part of our family now. Yep. And I think we can work together on some ideas.
Yep.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure talking to both of you.
And before you ladies go, just want to cite a little bit of scripture, which God has helped me in my life, transform me, help me better love my son, my family, everyone around me. Love is patient, love is kind. Mm-hmm. You type it in, you'll get the rest of that scripture, and it's very powerful. Carol-Lynn, flaunt those Grammys. Don't those Emmys. Don't you ever again try to hide them. I want you next time I see you, I want you to hold them like this. Hey Jay, what's going on? How are you?
This is for the Benergy show that's gonna come out.
There you go. Right there.
Oh my!
You better start weightlifting, and they're very heavy.
There you go. There you go. And the Christy, we definitely got on a different level, but you'll appreciate this. Live long and prosper. Listen, I love you, ladies. Thank you for being on the show. Continue to do your work. You are making a huge impact all across the world. Every barrier you can imagine. I appreciate what you're doing as from a parent standpoint. Ben, from an autistic individual himself, an amazing, awesome person that he is. His parents, please continue to do what you ladies are doing and inspire individuals like my son to maybe go into that field and push others just like him. So thank you very much.
We do a
We appreciate
screenshot
you.
picture, like a screenshot picture.
Oh, you want a screenshot picture, ladies? Where you know you got to put one of those up in a screenshot picture. You know you got to.
I'll do this.
All right, we're going to do it. Yeah, there we go. We're
1,
gonna do
2,
that.
3. All right, I got it. Let's
We
see.
got it. All right. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to Ben and Jay Show. We're going to let these ladies go. It's Friday night. I know they got stuff to do other than be here with us, but you know, it is what it is. Stay tuned to our next episode. We love you guys. Stay focused, stay positive, love on each other. That's all we want you to do. All right. Thank you. Ben and Jay Show. Ben, out of here.
See you later. See you later, kids.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.